If you have the freedom to cruise any month you want, and a lot of people over 60 finally do, then you are holding the single biggest money advantage in all of cruising, and most people throw it away without even knowing it. Here is the truth the cruise lines are quiet about. The same cabin on the same ship sailing the same route can cost you nearly double in one month and half in another. Same vacation. The only thing that changed is the calendar. So today we are ranking all 12 months of the year, from the absolute worst time to cruise to the very best, and giving you the one big reason each month lands where it does. Get this right and you sail in calm water on a half-empty ship for a fraction of what everyone else paid. Get it wrong and you pay peak price to fight crowds in rough seas. Stay to the end for the single best value month of the entire year. The one savvy cruisers quietly book while everyone else overpays. Let's count it down. Number 12. December, the holiday weeks, the worst. Start with the single most expensive time to set foot on a cruise ship, the 2 weeks around Christmas and New Year's. If you sail between roughly December 20th and the 1st of January, you are booking at the absolute peak. The data on 2026 sailings is blunt about it. A full Christmas and New Year's cruise runs 40 to 60% more than the average fare for the very same ship the rest of the year. Every family with children out of school is trying to sail at once, so the ships are packed, the kids' clubs are overflowing, and every excursion sells out. You pay the highest price of the year for the most crowded ship of the year. The verdict. Unless a white glove holiday at sea is a once-in-a-lifetime bucket list dream you have always wanted, the Christmas and New Year's weeks are the worst value on the calendar. Beautiful, festive, and brutally overpriced. There is one other peak that stings almost as much, and it catches people who forget about the school calendar. Number 11. July. Peak summer, peak price. July is the month everyone can travel, and that is exactly the problem. With school out nationwide, July is peak season for nearly every cruise region, and the price reflects pure demand. The 2026 pricing data flags June and July as the months to avoid in the Caribbean, specifically because fares climb and stay high. Ships sail full of families, the pools are shoulder to shoulder, ports are mobbed with every other ship's passengers at the same time, and you are paying top dollar for the privilege. In the Mediterranean, July piles on a second problem, brutal heat that can make walking the ports truly miserable. The verdict. If you are tied to a school schedule, you may have no choice, and that is fair. But if you have the flexibility, July is a month to skip. You get peak crowds and peak prices with no discount for the hassle. This next month fools people because on paper it looks like a bargain. Number 10. Late March into April. The spring break trap. On paper, spring looks like shoulder season and a deal. In reality, one thing wrecks it. Spring break. Across late March and into April, waves of college students and families with school-age kids flood the cruise ships, and the weekly 2026 fare data shows prices climbing right through the spring break window, peaking as demand spikes. The ships that were cheap in January suddenly are not. The onboard atmosphere shifts toward party crowds, and the value you expected from a spring sailing evaporates. It is the classic trap. A season that should be cheap, made expensive by the school calendar. The verdict. If your dates land squarely in spring break, you are paying a premium for a rowdier ship. The shoulder season savings are real in spring, but only in the weeks on either side of the break, not during it. Now we reach the great gamble of the entire cruise calendar. Number 9. August, the heart of hurricane season. This is where price and risk collide, and you have to decide how much of a gambler you are. August sits in the heart of Atlantic hurricane season, which runs June through November and peaks hard from August into October. And the fares tell the story. This is when Caribbean prices start dropping toward their lowest of the year, because the cruise lines are pricing in real weather risk. Modern ships reroute around storms, so outright cancellations are rare. But itinerary changes, missed ports, rough seas, and travel day delays are all on the table. You might get a cheap week of perfect sunshine, or you might get a rerouted cruise that skips the island you booked it for. On the pricing, this is where the Caribbean starts sliding toward interior cabins in the range of $100 per person per day and lower, prices you simply never see in peak season. The savings are real. So is the reason for them. The verdict. August is cheaper for a reason. If you book it, buy travel insurance without a second thought, and only sail if you can accept a changed itinerary with a shrug. For a nervous traveler, the savings are not worth the anxiety. Now we cross over from the months to approach with caution into the months worth actually booking. Number 8. June, the start of the good stuff at a price. June is where the calendar turns because it is genuinely wonderful in the right region and merely expensive in the wrong one. For Alaska, June is close to ideal. Long daylight hours, clearer skies for glacier viewing, and active wildlife, which is why it is one of the 2 best Alaska months. But June is also early summer. School lets out mid-month, and Caribbean prices are already climbing into their July peak. So June is a tale of 2 regions. A brilliant time to sail north to the glaciers, and a pricey, filling-up time to sail south to the islands. The verdict. If Alaska is the dream, June earns a much higher spot. Book it. If you want the Caribbean, June is the beginning of the expensive stretch, and you can do better a few months either side. Now for a hidden pocket of value that most people walk right past. Number 7. Early December. The calm before the holidays surge. This is one of the best-kept secrets on the whole calendar, and it sits right next to the most expensive weeks of the year. The stretch from just after Thanksgiving until about the 3rd week of December is what cruise insiders call a dead zone for travel. And that is a compliment. Families are saving their trips and their money for Christmas, so ships sail with empty cabins they are desperate to fill, and prices fall. The 2026 data points to the first 2 weeks of December as one of the best Caribbean value windows of the entire year, with warm weather and light crowds. You get holiday season sparkle beginning to appear on board without the holiday season price. There is a second hidden reason spring and fall are quietly cheap, and it is worth knowing. These are the seasons when cruise lines move their ships between regions, sending them from the Mediterranean back to the Caribbean for winter, and those one-way repositioning cruises are often the best value in all of cruising. Longer sailings at low per-night prices for travelers with the time to enjoy them. The verdict. Early December is a genuine sweet spot. Sail before about the 18th and you get warm weather, thin crowds, and a fraction of the price your fellow travelers pay 10 days later. Quietly, one of the smartest bookings of the year. This next one is the reliable, no-drama choice. Number 6. Late April and early May. The shoulder season opens. Once spring break clears out, the calendar hands you one of its friendliest stretches. Late April into early May is prime shoulder season. School is back in session, so the families are gone, the ships quiet down, and prices soften. The Caribbean still delivers warm, largely dry weather before summer humidity sets in, and the Mediterranean opens its season with pleasant temperatures at shoulder season prices, well before the July heat and crowds. It is a low-stress, good value, good weather window in almost every region that matters. The verdict. Late April and early May is a smart, safe, comfortable time to cruise nearly anywhere. Not the rock-bottom cheapest, but the balance of price, weather, and calm is hard to beat. Now the value play, and it rewards the flexible and the bold. Number 5. Late August into early September. Deep value, eyes open. For the traveler who can stay flexible, this stretch is where the real savings live. As summer ends and kids head back to school, demand falls off a cliff, and the cruise lines respond with some of the lowest fares of the year. The catch is the same one from August. This is still hurricane season. But the reward is real. The 2026 data shows late August and September delivering the deepest Caribbean discounts, with mainstream sailings dipping toward the lowest per-night prices you will find all year. Sail now and the ship is calm, adult, and cheap, as long as the weather cooperates. The verdict. If you can handle the hurricane season gamble and carry insurance, late August into early September is deep, genuine value. Not for the nervous, excellent for the flexible. This next month is the connoisseur's pick for 2 of the best regions on Earth. 4. Late September and October in the right region, the hidden gem. This is where knowing your region turns a good month into a great one. For the Mediterranean, late September and October are close to perfect. Warm, but no longer scorching, with the summer crowds finally thinned out of Rome, Santorini, and the rest, at prices that drop significantly from the July peak. For Alaska, September is the discounted tail of the season, cheaper than summer with a real chance at the northern lights. The one caveat is the Caribbean, where October is cheap and warm, but still carries hurricane risk. So this is a month you match to the map. The verdict. For a Mediterranean or a bargain Alaska cruise, late September and October are a hidden gem. Top-tier weather and thinned crowds at a real discount. Book the right region, and this is one of the finest values of the year. The next two are the best all-around months on the entire calendar. Number 3. January. Wave season and the post-holiday drop. The moment the New Year's crowds walk off the ship, the whole picture changes in your favor. The first days of January bring a steep price drop as the holiday premium collapses and the month kicks off wave season, the January through March stretch when cruise lines launch their biggest promotions of the entire year. Free drink packages, onboard credit, Wi-Fi, reduced deposits. It is the best combination of low fares and rich perks you will find. The one honest trade-off is that January is a cold weather month up north, so you are sailing to escape winter, but for a warm weather Caribbean or Mexico route, that is exactly the point. The verdict. January is a top-tier month. You escape the cold, you catch the post-holiday price collapse, and you sail during the richest promotions of the year. For a sun route, it is hard to do better. Now the sweet spot that the savviest cruisers quietly circle on the calendar. Number 2. Late January into February. The wave season peak of value. If January is great, this specific window is the sharpest value in the whole cold weather stretch. By late January, the early bookers have locked in their spring and summer sailings, and the cruise lines start clearing remaining winter inventory at deeply discounted rates, right at the peak of wave season promotions. February then delivers the Caribbean's calm sea, dry, warm weather. The good stuff, at a fraction of holiday pricing. You get the best winter weather in the islands, the deepest wave season perks, and a ship that is not overrun. It is the combination the experienced cruisers quietly book while everyone else is still paying off Christmas. The verdict. Late January into February is the connoisseur's value pick. Superb Caribbean weather, top promotions, and reasonable crowds all at once. A fantastic time to sail, and the one I would circle first for a winter Caribbean trip. And now, the single best value month on the entire calendar. Number 1. September in the right region, the best value of the year. The best month of all is the one that pairs the lowest prices of the year with genuinely good conditions, if you simply choose your destination with a little care. September is, across the data, the cheapest cruise month of the year. Here is why it takes the top spot instead of just being cheap. The kids are back in school, so crowds vanish and ships turn calm and adult. Fares hit their yearly floor, with September sailings to lesser-known Caribbean islands dipping to some of the lowest per-night rates in all of cruising. And critically, you can sidestep September's one weakness. Yes, it is peak hurricane season in the Caribbean, so you do the smart thing and point the ship somewhere else. September is a superb month for the Mediterranean, where the heat has broken and the crowds are gone, and a discounted, Northern Lights-capable month in Alaska. You take September's rock-bottom prices and empty ships, and you spend them in a region where the weather is on your side. The verdict. September is the single best value month to cruise, the lowest fares of the year, and the emptiest ships. Redeemed by simply choosing the Mediterranean or Alaska over the stormy Caribbean. That one choice turns the cheapest month into the smartest one. So here is how the whole year shakes out before you book. Avoid the holiday weeks and peak summer, when you pay the most to fight the biggest crowds. Treat hurricane season as a gamble only the flexible and insured should take. And target the quiet value windows the savvy cruisers know. Early December, the wave season stretch from January into February, the shoulder weeks of late April and May, and above all, September in the right region, when the same cruise everyone else overpaid for all year is finally calm, empty, and cheap. As a rule of thumb from the 2026 data, anything under $100 per person per day on a mainstream line is a good deal. And in these value windows, you can beat that. One last piece of timing that stacks on top of all of this. The month you sail is one lever. The month you book is another. The 2026 data is clear that booking during wave season, that January through March window, or grabbing a last-minute deal 30 to 90 days before a sailing that still has empty cabins, can each shave real money off the fare. Combine a smart sailing month with a smart booking window, and you are winning twice. Get the month right, and you are not just saving money. You are getting a better cruise, on a better ship, in better water than the person who paid double. If this helped you time your next cruise, subscribe, and I will keep pulling back the curtain on how to travel smarter for less.